central bank in Nigeria has issued a directive to DBISPs, domestic systemically important banks, mandating early succession planning for executives, including MDs, CEOs, and other top executives. It's supposed to be aimed at strengthening corporate governance and minimizing disruptions that could destabilize the financial system. We're going to get some more thoughts on that from our ICE business analyst Chika Mbonu in just a moment. The Naira, speaking of the CBN, we've seen it appreciate. Just looking at its movement in the month of September, closing yesterday at 1,484 to the dollar. We could have had a longer chart, but I haven't seen this level since about, I think, March or February or so. So let's get some more insights on the appreciation of the currency and also the directive from the central bank from our ICE business analyst, Chika Mbonu. You're welcome, sir.
This is morning.
Morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm fine, thanks. Well, what do you make of, where do we start first? The CBN directive?
The CBN directive.
Let's go there, yes. What do you make of it?
It ties in to the CBN corporate governance guidelines that they issued in September, I think, 2023, which speaks of the fact that banks must have succession plan for their CEOs, EDs, and key other management members of management team. And it's simple, just to make sure that it doesn't upset the whole system. So that's general for banks. That every bank must have a succession plan for the the CEOs, the executive directors, and the senior management team. Just make sure that transition is smooth. Now it's come out now and say that domestic systematically important banks, DSIBs, who are defined as based on the fact that domestic systematically important banks want a bank that has one of the big sizes. Because of their interconnectedness into the system, the fact that cannot be easily be replaced by the system and the complexity of the bank, it just means that if any distress or failure happens in that bank, it will cause an earthquake into the system. It will lead to a bigger systemic stress. So those kind of banks are, at the time there were about 7, 8 of them. I think as of now, there are about 5, 6 of them, or max 7. So CBN said that for those banks, you must within 6 months before the expiration of the tenure of a current MD, he must select the new MD who will replace. So run parallel, understand the system for handover, and then 3 months before the expiry, he must announce that. Nothing untoward, actually. But it speaks of corporate governance and the fact that, there's continuity and there's no lacuna in leadership and devoid of quarrels and stuff like that. Because of the fact, remember, banks are holding in trust the funds of the citizens, depositors' funds, and any issues of quarrels might need to run on the banks, which will affect the whole system. And so this succession planning to make sure everything is done smoothly. And of course, the positive for it, which I thought about also, continuity, the fact that the new person will be there and understand what the key issues are, not just come there overnight and then where do I start? So there, but also you ask, are there some downsides? Maybe so that long tenure may cause some internal strife, that kind of stuff. Some barbelé may just enter there, and then so maybe need some resignations, and people may not think they don't have hope again. But on average, on the balance, this is a very good initiative by Central Bank. South Africa, succession plan is organized. Kenya organized. But all the stipulations about, like CBN said about DSIBs, may not be there. Europe organized. The UK, the same thing. Even America also, that's succession plan. But the issue, Nigeria has gone taken extra length and said it must be this minimum 3 months and so on and so forth. But it's okay overall for the system. All right. Now I look through the rundown for we talk about FX.
Yes.
A
topic you've touched on extensively.
How do you say success?
Has many
fathers. Success is good, Now, you do recall that when Naira was dancing the Akpala disco dance, against the dollar. At the time, it was every day we wake up, it is, what is it today? And they say it's 1.6. The next day, 1.7. The next day, 1.8. 1.9. He hugged 2,000, and then by the time it was near 1.9, some of the people were saying, "Oh, Nigeria is finished."
Yeah.
You know, if we get 1,000 to $1, that would be like the lowest, the best rate we can ever have.
Yeah.
But you see, in this program, we're always very consistent. We said, remember that time I said there are two things. When you asked me a question about direction of exchange rate and stuff, I said the price of every commodity is determined by the what? The demand and the supply. I kept telling you that. The price of every commodity is determined by the demand and supply. And increase the supply of dollars and then moderate demand, our dollar, this will have, we stabilize.
Yep.
And I also told you that our primary source of dollars is what? The oil God has blessed this country with. I use that word. And I said, our Commonwealth. I said, push up the production to 2 million barrels a day. Our headache will, our cancer reduced to our headache. No more that kind of stuff. But, when you see a green garden that's looking so nice, somebody tends to it. So I'll doff my hat also for the CBN governor. Yeah. And the couple of initiatives that have, addressed the, interfered or assisted supply and also affected demand, which has led to the moderation that we have. Now, let me just pick on a couple of them because we have short memories in Nigeria. Of course. So I'm trying to give, the accolades to Mr. Cardoso, But the first thing they did was to clear on the FS backlog. Yes. And that's about $7 billion on verified FS obligations. And that restored confidence in the system. Yep. Because before, people were like, if we bring our money into the system, we can't take it out. Yeah. So that helped to, you remember that noise? Oh, yes. Then you hear me talk about several times here that I can't understand how I will go to US or Venezuela or whatever and be washing dead bodies, and then doing care work for those deranged people, and they're paying me $100 a day or whatever, and I bring it back to Nigeria. I say I must change the controlled rates, and so they should do something about the diaspora remittances, which he did, and he removed the rate cap. January 31st, 2024, the CBN scrapped the plus minus 2.5% cap of IMTO money. That helped to make sure that more money from the diaspora people came into the system. And also he revised the IMTO guidelines. I'm addressing the issue that I said that the price of every commodity is determined by the demand and supply. Right. If the supply is up, demand is low, the price moderates. Yep. If the supply is low, demand is up, the price goes high. Yeah. And that's what we're seeing here. Look at international oil companies' proceeds, Bureau de Change reforms. There are a lot of things they did there. Remember that one of the things they did was he scrapped about almost 4,200 licenses, and then increased the capital for BDCs. Yeah. Because recall also that, each governor ex-governor has been tried, and any other person has been tried, an agency MD, it's always a BDC MD that goes to testify, because a lot of our Naira was all going to, BDCs to buy dollar. But one of the most important ones they did was this electronic FS matching and rule book. The FS matching, basically, what he did was he brought demands and supply to one platform. Right. Unlike before that, a big company will have an FX demand, it will give it to about 3 banks to go to the bank at the same time. So a $6 million demand will become $80 million demand. Right. And so it created that fattened demand scenario that didn't exist. So this pressure in the currency. Right. So this electronic matching helped to put demand and supply in the same market. Yeah. And the critical again is the Nigerian FS code that they did. Made it responsible for the MDs and the compliance officers in the banks to sign to make sure that any infraction, the bank will be penalized. Now, there are more on the supply side. On the demand side, remember the net open position limit. Yep, that's right. Like he thought about also for banks. And then he capped it at 20% for short and 0 for long. And that enabled some banks to offload the FX holdings, and that affected the market. And of course, the bank FX risk controls. Yeah. And then the other key thing they did also was the prohibition of using FX as collateral for Naira loans. And because people were buying dollars, putting in a bank vault and borrowing against it. Yeah. and that was created artificial demand also, and then export proceeds repatriation. People use after getting export proceeds, they keep it there outside there for a long time, and then starving the system of FX. Now it's automatic. Once you do say, bring back, and that has helped also. So, and then of course, monetary policy tightening helps to attract inflows into the system. So the price of every commodity is determined by the demand and supply. So if you see the FX rate moderating, against the dollar, it has to do that the supply has gone up. Oil prices have gone up higher. The diaspora remittances have gone up higher. FPI inflows have increased because of the stability in the system. And then the demand side, a lot of things are moderated. And you remember the other thing I mentioned, as I'm closing this segment, is the fact that I said if you want to control the FX rate in the alternative, the parallel market, and bring it close to the official market, eliminate the reasons why people go to the alternative parallel market. Because what used to happen that time was that you have your kids in Canada, school fees total of $50,000. Central Bank would just say they will give you only $10,000 or $20,000.
You now have to go and...
So all those emergency FX or must-have FX demands, we actually putting pressure on the parallel market. You have a parent that is sick and has to go to hospital. They require $100,000 for medical. You can only get $20,000 from the system. You have to go to the market. So all those now can be made from the official market, and which have flattened the demand in the parallel market. And that's why this is happening. What's the outlook? Can this continue?
You preempted my next question.
Can this continue? Can this continue? Well, we hope that this continues because of the issues. One, remember the primary source of FX is oil. We hope that the production will continue to increase towards the 2 million barrels per day level that we desire. NNPC and the partners have brought us some initiatives to make sure that happens. And then, of course, the price, which you have no control over. OPEC is doing a lot of things there. Sometimes, I'm not saying this, we would desire some stormy tea in some part of the world so that the prices are up there. And that helps us sometimes. As far as remittances, no reversal of the procedures. FPI inflows, well, the issue of dollar getting weaker, and then interest rates moderating in Nigeria may be a risk. That. And so, but we hope that continues, and the CBN consistently keep his policies along the line, and we'll have that similar to the system.
Fantastic stuff. Always excellent, informative breakdown from you as always. Arise business analyst Chika Mbonu, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.